I love in your book how you, in the section titled Rewind, you do walk the reader through some simple steps about letting somebody know about what you're going through, letting somebody in, letting somebody sow into your life, and allowing yourself to win and being okay with that.
Exactly. And I think what stops people from doing that is pride, embarrassment. I don't want to let people in. I don't want to let people know that I had a weakness, or that I messed up, or they're going to look at me stupid. And I had to get over it. For me, it was a point of survival. If you want to live, you got to go get some help.
Yeah.
And that's where I was. And I'm not ashamed to say it, because I'm sitting here right now on the other side. And if I had not reached out and got help or let people in, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I am not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed about it. My whole purpose is to help other people see that. Yes, you go through situations, but you can come out in the end and you can win.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you say, I'm not going to quote it verbatim. I'll mess it up if I try. But, you know, you said something along the effect of, this doesn't have to be who you are in the future. You know, this isn't the sum of who you are. That is just part of your past, and who a contributing factor to who you are today. But in that same section, the rewind section, you talk about identifying your support system. And that is one of the very first things that at Care Lodge, we talk to people, I'll call them visitors or guests, that come in and they're trying to figure out what their next step should be. We're like, okay, who is in your corner fighting for you right now? And if they have somebody, we have a conversation around that. But if they don't, like what you were discussing in your book, encouraging them to start building that support circle, that foundation of when you have a bad day, you can lean in on their strengths and their support. And Care Lodge, as an agency, we offer ourselves to be part of that circle if they would like that to be. We don't push any agenda. We don't make them do anything. And having a counselor or an advocate fighting for you in your corner, like what you were talking about, your counselor was encouraging to you, didn't tell you what to do, but they saw into your life and spoke life into you.
Yes,
Told
so
you
important.
and affirmed you that you were already doing things that you weren't even realizing. You were already making it. You were already doing it and doing a good job, doing the best you possibly could. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. And I just kept reading and reading and reading. But so many people get caught, Erica, in this pattern, and you didn't mean for it to happen.
No,
You
I didn't.
were chasing men that you believed in and that were aligned with your goals as a partner. And you were looking for a godly man who showed strength and was, you know, had that business strong mentality, that support. But the digging in, you mentioned looking into the background. How do they treat their mama?
Exactly. That's number one. If they don't treat their mamas right, you better hit the door, because your mother, even if they've had issues with their mother in the past, or maybe they weren't the best mother, if they don't have the respect for their mother, the woman who birthed them, that's a big red flag. And in my opinion, there's no excuse for mistreating your mother, no matter what happened. Even if, you know, she just had a bad life, you know, just gave you a bad life, there still has to be some level of respect. If you cannot sit in the same room with your mother, as a man, what do you think he's going to do to you?
Well,
And
we
so
don't think
that's one
about
lesson that I bought.
mm-hmm. We don't think about that when we're going through it. We're like, well, I am his mama.
Yeah.
You
Right. We
don't treat
know
me
you're
like
not.
that.
Yes. Right. But if he can't respect his mama, he can't respect you, because she was the first woman he came in contact with. And if he can't respect her, he will not respect you, no matter how the honeymoon phase goes. When it's all over, he's going to treat you just like he treated her. So that's one lesson that I did learn, one of many. You know, he has to respect the women in his life already, and dig deep, check the background, you know, with other people. What were the prior relationships like? And
Yeah.
I know as women, we don't like to go back and, you know, go talk to the ex-girlfriend or whatever, this, that, and the other. But you need to have some type of contact, even if it's indirectly. And I found that if you keep hearing the same story over and over, you need to look into it. So I think that's so important.
You know, you mentioned in your book, and I don't want to give too much away because I want people to read it. There's a portion where you mention how both of your husbands had some things going on in their childhood that were unresolved.
Yes.
In the professional realm, we might refer to that as an adverse childhood experience, or just some things that rebellion, or things like that. You mentioned mental health that just were not taken care of or managed well. And I have found early in my career at Care Lodge, I worked with the offenders program and realized that a lot of them had a lot of things in common. The majority of them had things that happened in their childhood that they didn't get help for, and had several adverse childhood experiences present. In saying that, I know that they are people just like me and you,
Exactly.
who have been hurt, that have not healed. And they carry that hurt and that pain with them, and it spills off into their next generation, in which you speak to that too, that intergenerational effect that it has, raising your children up in a home, waiting for them to grow up. You mentioned that, and how that is unhealthy to think that way. Sticking together for the kids can be dangerous for everyone involved.
Right, right. And as a mother, I know I didn't want to, so to speak, have the blood on my hands of thinking that I kept my children in a home that was unhealthy. And then when they become adults, they will act out or behave in the ways they saw modeled in front of them. And I knew that it would be healthy for them, even if I was a single parent, to be in a home that was loving and where there was free communication, instead of being in a home where there were two adults who never talked to each other, or either there was always fussing and fighting, everybody's on eggshells. That's not healthy. And I didn't want my children to take that into their relationships as they're adults. So I had to make a decision. This is what's the most important to me, is my children, because I'm responsible for them.
Yeah.
They depend on me. So I have to make sure I give them what I have so they can be healthy adults, so the cycle won't repeat itself. And I think as women, we get lost in that. And like you said, I've heard so many women say, and I've had friends who've been in, bad marriages or relationships. I'm just going to stay until they get grown. I'm going to stay until they graduate from high school. But y'all arguing every night, fighting every night. You're on the phone. He didn't come home for 3 days and you're miserable. The children pick up on that. So why would you want that vibe? Why would you want that in your house? Get in a place where you have peace. And then the next thing is, you think, if I leave, I won't be okay. I won't be able to pay the bills. I won't be able to feed the kids. There is a way. There is always a way. You can't let the unknown stop you from doing from what you know you need to do. There's always help. You just have to go out there and look for it. Somebody's there to help. It's just as Care Lodge. There are many organizations out there that will help. And like you were talking about earlier, the support system. And I found also with abusers, they have a tendency to isolate. So they can be the ones who are in charge of your thinking and not you. So when you are with an abuser, they know your family is going to see things in them that possibly you won't see, or that you're going to overlook, and they're going to magnify it and say, hey, I saw how he talked to you. We didn't like that, or you're not letting him do this. The abuser knows that. So what they will do is isolate you or turn you against your own family. And that's what happened to me. Oh, they don't support you, or they don't do this, or they're always saying this about you. So I distanced myself. But that was a plan to get me by myself, to brainwash, so to speak, to make me believe this, I'm the only way you can make it. I believed that for a short amount of time, but something rose up in me and say, hey, I wasn't raised this way. I don't believe that. I know there's more in me. I've got to come out of this. There is a way. So I had to be strategic, and going back to school and making sure I was able to handle things myself, as far as, finances and so forth, just getting myself prepared for what was to come. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew I had to prepare. And that's what I did.